Hello, everyone. It's happened, guys. It's happened. The 2024 Oscars happened last night, 24 hours ago. I think we'll get into all the details later on. Let's talk overall thoughts on the ceremony just quick, because I have a little slideshow that I'm going to go through here. We did, or at least I did. Anthony doesn't know about this. Awards for
I'm
the awards
scared.
show.
I'm
Yeah,
scared
yeah.
now.
Anthony had no say in what was about to come. But overall thoughts on I thought it was one of the better ceremonies in a long time, but I don't know what you thought. What did you think of the overall ceremony?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this show moved pretty well, and maybe who knows if that was the starting 1 hour early. Maybe everybody was in a better mood. I couldn't tell you, but yeah, I just think that the Jimmy Kimmel was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Some I've seen some people criticize some of the jokes, but I think overall, he kept the vibe alive in the room. Some
Mm-hmm.
really clever bits. I thought the John Cena costume design
That was
that
good.
that it was just a perfect combo. It's exactly what we want from an award show bit. I mean, he didn't plan this, but the Trump, reacting to his Truth Social thing, I think was a really fun thing and definitely on brand for
Yeah.
Kimmel. You could see that was just right in his wheelhouse. Yeah, I think that we can talk about some of the specific elements, like the actors presenting to the other actors. I think some of the groups worked better than others as far as who they were talking about and the group that they had assembled. I think the Best Actress group was probably the best.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I also think because that was felt the most balanced, going from Sally Field to Jennifer Lawrence and Michelle Yeoh, like we saw the breadth of that category over like 5, 6 decades. Yeah, I just think in the end, listen, I think it helps because there were surprises, and we can get into this. The surprises were good picks. Like in the end,
Yep.
it was a fun show. People kept the energy alive. The musical performances were on fire. And in the
Mm-hmm.
end, they picked good, deserving people who gave good, deserving speeches. And
Yeah.
so, what more could you ask for the Academy
Yeah.
Awards?
There's not, for the most part, not a single surprise win. All the surprise wins I liked. Most of the ones in general I thought were great wins overall. Hello to everyone joining us. Hello, hello. Yes, Emma Stone, indeed one of those surprised. Cillian Murphy, an Oscar
Woo!
winner.
We never doubted
Um,
him.
no, we didn't. We were, if we have a few things to brag about this award season, I think one of them would be we stuck strong with Cillian Murphy no matter what in Best
I don't
Actor.
think we ever wavered. We talked about Paul as a
We talked
possibility.
about Paul as a possibility, yeah, but I think we were still pretty confident in it being
Yeah.
Murphy. Hello, Jordan, frequent
Hey.
super chatter here. Happy for Stone. It would have been odd if she had only one for La La Land. No mention of Saltburn. This is true. But Cena did get, yeah, Cena. We'll talk
I think
about,
I
but
think that
Cena,
was a mention of Saltburn. I
yeah,
was
in its own way. They
I
should have
was
gotten
half
Barry to do it. That's what I tweeted.
I was half expecting the joke to be that John doesn't want to do it, and then Barry was going to walk right past
Oh, that
both of
would be
them.
great. Yeah.
Um, but no, I thought that was yeah, it was surprising because usually that would be the type of movie they want to mention because they want to seem cool. Um, but yeah, we didn't get too much. We got Greta and Margot out of the way, but then other than that, I think we
Hmm.
didn't really get a lot of like we didn't nominate this movie, we didn't, you know. But that also could be that they actually
Yeah.
picked a lot of the people we agreed on, and that nobody really had an issue with a lot of the nominees.
And as he mentions at the end, sound design, we'll talk about it. One of the best wins of the night. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if I want to like rank the wins, but that was definitely a wonderful surprise. And we will talk about I'm Just Ken and that nice little everything that happened in I'm Just Ken will get its own moment in what I'm about to pull up in our
Yeah.
slideshow. And yes, I'll talk about this as well when we get to actress. I I didn't. I switched Emma Stone, and then a few hours before the ceremony, I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be. I don't want to like lose and be behind 1 point from everyone else. I'm just gonna stick with Lily," and I screwed up, guys. But I should have stuck with my gut. But we'll see. I'll do that next year. I think that's also one of the lessons, as I pointed out in the predictions episode. When it's a close race, you got to go with who is in the stronger film. And Poor Things, as we see, was probably number 2 in Best Picture this year. It wasn't the stronger film.
Yeah,
Um,
that we answered
yeah.
that question that you
Yep.
posed last week
That's the number
for
2,
sure.
not American Fiction. Yep. So let us add this to the stage
Oh
a
no.
little. Which size do we want to go? That looks nice. Okay. Oscars for the 2024 Oscars. This is reviewing the ceremony through an awards lens. How else would you do it?
We're looking it through
Um,
an Inception lens, is what we're doing.
yep. we're doing awards for the awards show. And our first category is the best I'm Just Ken moment, because there were lots of great moments throughout. Would you vote for the La La Land reunion, where Emma Stone gets to sing "So Am I"? Margot, Greta, and America joining in and singing. The other Kens appearing, as Ayush mentioned earlier, the Wolfgang and Slash cameo, and then crowd surfing. Which would you vote for in this category, Nancy? And your overall thoughts on, of course, the I'm Just Ken performance. I think most people think the highlight of the night.
Yes. So here's the thing. As much as I'm a La La Lander for life, favorite movie of all time, and I was very happy to see them reunite for that short moment. I think the best moment isn't on here because I think
What is
the
it?
best moment is when those lights turned to pink and the camera panned down to
I
Ryan
almost
sit
did
behind
that.
Margot, because that's when we knew they did it. They nailed it. This isn't going to be, we can't talk about Bruno. They actually delivered exactly what we wanted. He was committed.
You could see Billy cracking up in the background, too.
Oh, it was
That
so
funny.
good. So I would vote for that. But out of this list, I mean, they're all so great. I loved the classic film homage. You know, that's what we loved about Barbie in the movie.
Marilyn.
You know, and the fact that they brought a different, you know, Marilyn wasn't really mentioned in Barbie, but they brought a different classic film homage. You had the Busby Berkeley stuff with the crowd surfing. So yeah, but I mean, listen, we'll get into it. Anything with Emma Stone, I was happy to see. So
I know she's just
out of
so
this
good.
5, it was the La La Land reunion.
I would also vote for that as the best moment. It's just it apparently broke her dress, as she said. Great moment. Yeah, I would say that. And number 2 is probably having Margot, Greta, and America join in was also fun. Putting a spotlight on them. So yeah,
that was nice.
There we go. I think probably the highlight of the night for lots of people. Let us move on now to best speech. Once again, Answer didn't have any say in these nominees. I said Divine Joy Randolph, Cord Jefferson, Emma Stone, Jonathan Glazer, and I'm probably going to butcher his name, the director of 20 Days in Mariupol, Mstislav Chernov. Is how I'm going to attempt that. We can just go by each speech. I think Divine Joy Randolph, first speech of the night. First speech really of this entire award season where she wasn't reading off of a paper, I think kind of made a difference. Because she was just a perfect blend of like, I don't know how she maintains this authentic surprise when she's swept the entire season, but she still seems surprised, and I still believe that she was surprised to win. She was very emotional. She was humorous. I think it was just we can start talking about her win there. Great speech.
When you don't come from privilege, I think any award that goes your way, you're kind of shook with.
Yeah.
Because these systems are not meant to benefit you, and there's such a fewer list of people that look like her and have her life story that have this award. You know, that's why, you know, we talk about it. I'm sure we'll talk about it when we get to Best Actress, why awards matter sometimes. So I think, you know, people, that's why I think last week I said, listen, if you're going up and you're giving a speech to 20 million people live and then millions of people after the show, I don't know how you would do it, you know, and I don't know how you would process that. I mean, that was one of the things that surprises most about Emma Stone is the look of, like, she looked like she was going to throw up.
She looks terrified at first.
It's not as easy as we think it is. And it's, you know, to all the people who say, oh, they know they're going to win. They do not know they're winning. Because if they did, then Moonlight would have won Best Picture the second they said the wrong envelope. So yeah, I think it was a beautiful speech. I think I loved how, you know, she said she was trying to be different. She had to be herself.
Yeah.
Paul Giamatti being a gentleman, walking her up there too. You know, I just thought everything about it. Her thanking her publicist. It was a beautiful note to start the night on. I just felt like it had a lot. There was no cynicism last night, and I feel like a lot of times there's a lot more like negativity or like, you know, we know you didn't watch these movies, like, and whether people did or not. He
took a few jabs, like the 3-hour jab, and I think it didn't go over well. He really didn't do any other ones.
It was funnier than others have been. The idea that he had to have his mail mailed to the theater, like that was listen, I feel that when people get in trouble for jokes, it's because the jokes aren't funny. You can make anything a joke, and you can make anything that we've already heard funny if it's a new idea, a fresh take on it. So, so I thought it was a really lovely speech. I thought Cord Jefferson's and the idea that this is a risk-averse industry, but funnel the $200 million movie into $10, $20 million movies, I thought was such a beautiful sentiment. and really embodied the soul of his movie too. I thought that was
Yeah.
what's really great about it, is that you can see that he really understands. He meant what his movie was about.
Mhm.
So yeah, I thought he was wonderful, and I'm glad that movie can now say it's an Academy Award winning film.
Yeah, and how he wants the opportunity he was given to happen to other people out there. How he said, "There's the next Nolan, there's the next Scorsese, the next Greta," all
You're
that
here.
stuff. Yeah, great
Yeah,
speech. And you already talked about Emma Stone a little bit. I think obviously she did look scared at first. I think she handled it really as gracefully as she possibly could. Once
yeah.
again, she has just in
As
any
good
speech
as
just
Olivia Colman did against Glenn
Yep,
Close.
yep. And similar to Olivia Colman, it was like this nice blend of shock because she was clearly shocked. Humor starting off with like, "Oh, my dress is broken," and pointing that out. And then clearly emotion too, as she was like honoring everyone else in the category, saying how honored she's been to be
Beautiful
alongside
speech.
Lily the whole award season. So yeah, she handled it perfectly, and it
I
was a great
think
speech.
hers was my favorite in the end. It's the one I've rewatched the most, because I do think like her saying
Mhm.
like, it's not about you, take yourself out of
Yeah.
it. It was kind of similar to a speech that isn't on this list, but like I loved when Christopher Nolan said that like, the fact that you think I'm meaningful and a part of this history is very gratifying. And I'm paraphrasing, but
Mhm.
I thought that was a beautiful note, and I loved his. We're only at the start of this art form. I'm interested. I'm fascinated to see where it goes. We're only 100 years in. Um, so yeah, I think Emma Stone's was just, you could, because she wasn't prepared. Like, she didn't think she was going to win, and so
Mhm.
whatever she was saying was completely genuine, and that's what we loved about her. It's what we loved about Olivia Colman. I just felt bad because the thing that got Olivia Colman up and was helping her up was Emma Stone, and Emma Stone
Yeah, and she wasn't there.
she
She
could
had her
Emma
husband.
yeah, she had her husband. And
Mhm.
Ryan's energy was nearby.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
Kenergy. So yeah, and then I think Jonathan Glazer and Mr. Chernov um,
Mhm.
were obviously speaking to similar things, because both their
Mhm.
films talk about war and a lot of the strife that has unfortunately been replicated, and it's cyclical in our very sometimes awful environment. And I
Mhm.
thought, listen, you can't. I felt it probably would have been irresponsible for them to go up there and not say anything. They're obviously made these movies because of the climate. They couldn't have anticipated the certain specific climates that maybe are happening now. I mean, Jonathan Glazer could not have imagined that when he made, the movie or started. I mean, he takes like a decade to make movies. So like, he had no
Yeah.
idea, but I think that he acknowledged it with grace. I mean, they're not easy conversations, and movies kind of sometimes help us. They're our greatest teachers, and I think that's what I loved about these speeches. So yeah, in the end,
Yeah.
I thought it was a great night. I think everybody really understood the assignment when it came to speeches. They understood what
Mhm.
Yes, they're important for you, but you're giving these speech to people in that room, outside the room. Bring them all in. Tell us a
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. Agreed on both Glazer and Chernov's speeches. Glazer really the only speech I think of the entire night to address the entire Palestine Gaza situation.
Yeah,
So good on. He seemed a little nervous doing it. So good on him for actually.
yeah.
It's weird how little it's
Well,
been
they
mentioned throughout the award season. So good on him for especially because it's the film is, as he says in his speech, so interconnected to stuff that is happening today,
yeah.
and hopefully lessons that we need to learn. So good on him
There
for
was there was I
mentioning.
think there were multiple actors wearing buttons that represented, or
A
pins
lot of the
for the
Anatomy of a
ceasefire.
Fall
Yeah, and I saw
crew. Yeah.
Rami Youssef and I think Mark
hmm
Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo,
So
probably. That makes
yeah,
sense. Yeah.
it would make sense. We know
He's
Mark.
very politically active. Yes.
He's politically aware, So
hmm
yeah,
hmm
it's just in the end. Yeah, and I also I loved, speaking on that note, I loved that Cillian Murphy ended his speech with
Yep.
thanks to all the peacemakers out there. I thought that was
hmm
a beautiful way to put a button on the end of this journey for him. We'll get into how we feel about the winners
We will.
later.
We will.
After we
And
do
yeah,
our very long, our own
there's only
award
like
show.
one or two left, but yes.
See, we
Some
complain about how many award shows there are, and this is literally our second
we're
award show in this month.
hmm And who knows? There might be another one next week. Who knows? Um,
God, I'm going on
but
vacation. I'm getting a haircut,
yeah,
as you can
yeah.
see. This is
hmm
way too long.
New look for 2025
Oh
Oscars.
God.
Um, I think yeah, Cillian Murphy was a close cut here. So was I think Ayush mentioned it earlier. Christopher Nolan. It was very sweet looking at when he was doing his speech, he just kept looking down at the Oscar.
He
Like
couldn't believe it.
He's finally holding it. Was
Directors
awesome.
do that because Bong Joon-ho
Mhm.
did that too. You know,
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
can't believe because I think for them, like, you know, yes, Christopher Nolan is a star, and he definitely was one of the stars that made Oppenheimer what it is. But that's rare, even among directors, and just they're not celebrities.
Mhm.
They're not used to getting that sort of attention. You know, actors I think are just more accustomed to being celebrated in that way. So I think when they're on national television and they've been handed this gold statuette, yeah, I think it
Yeah,
hits them a little bit differently.
yeah.
So
I thought the
and yeah,
Godzilla's team's speech was great as well. They stupid like playoff music while they were like honoring their coworker who passed away was not a great look, but that was really the only
always
time the
there's always
playoff
one.
music I think, yeah,
My
was
favorite
like
one, I think, was it Coco? It was. I think it was the Lopez's when they won for
mhm,
something, um,
yeah,
and for Let It Go. I think it was for Remember Me, and
mhm.
they do the speech, and it's nice and warm as we know them to be, and then the music starts, and then he goes, "I just want to thank. I think my mom who passed away last week." Whoom! Music goes right out. It was so
Wow.
funny because you could tell. You didn't hear
Yep.
that. It was so
Ooh,
funny.
ooh.
But just yeah,
Uh,
because the show
yeah,
was pretty like it was just 3 hours and
it was on
20
time.
minutes. It was pretty good. I think. Listen, if it goes an extra 5 minutes and you let these people like,
Yeah,
I mean, they're not. They know, you
this is a
know, or at
once in a
least
lifetime thing. Yeah,
flash it, especially for the Godzilla team. Like that. That's never going to happen
yeah,
again. So
yeah. I hope
yeah,
not, but
I
yeah.
shouldn't say that. Anything's possible, and you could,
Or,
you know, look at Emma Stone.
yeah,
Emma
yeah.
Stone's a two-time Oscar winner.
Yeah,
We didn't think that was
this
going
is
to
true.
happen, at least so
This is
soon.
true. As Jordan mentioned, she's now a two-time Oscar winner. I think she might be at least of. I think she's confirmed she's the actress of her generation at this point. That she's
You kidding me?
probably the biggest star of her generation, and combined
Yeah.
with talent and just natural charisma. I'm
Poor
also very
Things made
interested.
over $100 million
Mhm.
worldwide. Poor
That's because of
Things.
her mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it'll probably,
Nearly close
if
to
they put it back in
NC-17.
theaters, I think that it could make
I'm
some more
interested
money.
to see all the old people who like, oh, Emma Stone won an Oscar, and then they go see Poor Things. It's like, oh, not what I
Yeah.
expected. But yeah, she's going to be in a Yorgos film next year, so she's continuing to work with
What's
him.
it called? If or and?
It's called. They've changed it. It's called Kinds of Kindness now, I think.
Okay.
It's an anthology film, which doesn't bode well for its awards chances, but we can talk about that when we do our 2025 Oscar predictions. Um, but yeah, and as other people are mentioning, Emma Stone on stage with Jennifer Lawrence, Michelle. Some people thinking like Emma Stone like pushed the award to Jennifer Lawrence to like give it to her, but as Michelle Yeoh has clarified on her Instagram, they've obviously talked about it before. And Michelle Yeoh wanted Jennifer Lawrence to hand it to her. A cute little
Yeah.
moment. Jennifer Lawrence was like crying and stuff. Clearly,
Oh my
very
God.
happy.
And
For
I
her.
think when she saw Jennifer Lawrence too, like that was, in hindsight, I wonder if they picked these people knowing
The
some, like,
pairings were weird,
well,
in
because
my
I just think
opinion.
that there was a sense in me that like Emma was walking to the stage, and when she saw Jennifer Lawrence, like that's
Hmm.
what grounded her. And she's like, oh my God, okay. Like she was there to be like,
Yeah.
it's okay, you're good, go give the speech, you're fine.
Hmm.
Jessica Lange trying to get her back into that
Yeah.
dress.
Hmm.
Um, I thought it was, I don't know if they did this on purpose because I felt that Maestro and All That Jazz were very similar movies. And to have
Okay.
Jessica Lange, who like that was one of her big roles, she plays the Angel of Death, Angelique, in
Hmm.
that movie.
Yeah.
Be the one to introduce Carey Mulligan, I thought if that was why, it's a subtle touch, but I might be
Hmm.
reading too much into it because I love All That Jazz.
Yeah, some of the connections were weird, but we did. Emma Stone did have Aunt May giving her a speech, so there's her Aunt May. So there's that connection.
I
Um,
know.
yeah, if I were to vote here, I'd probably vote for Divine. I think that's
Yeah.
the perfect kind of award speech in my opinion.
This was the first year that I was like at a real Oscar party with like half
Mhm.
people I don't know. Like I've been to a party with like I know the people and they know I'm the
Yeah,
Oscar person, so they kind of like they walk around me with like very carefully
Mhm.
on this because they know
yeah,
like we can't talk over the speeches or he's gonna get mad.
Mhm. Yeah,
But like I
Mhm.
had to go back and rewatch certain speeches because
Mhm.
everybody was like talking and
Talking.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
talk during the commercials, everyone. During the
yeah.
commercials. Yes. Yes, and as Jordan points out, Yorgos he's two for at least the last two for two.
When it
In
comes,
getting his
yeah,
lead actresses wins.
him
So
and listen, so was Damien Chazelle. He got J.K. Simmons and then he
hmm
got Emma Stone. So Emma Stone has a good eye to know who to work for.
Yeah, lots of, as we mentioned, La La Land, big night for last night with Ryan and Emma having huge moments. Damien
It
Chazelle
was fun.
kind of a loser lately, to be honest,
Oh,
unfortunately. Because,
shush.
well, no, I'm a huge Damien Chazelle fan. He's just talking about how he can't even get enough money for his next film, and I feel bad for him.
Hopefully, Cord
Give Damien
Jefferson's
Chazelle
speech changes that.
Yeah, hopefully. I hope he could at least get 10 million at this point, but
Yeah.
who knows? And yes, as mentioned, I guess we can talk
Okay.
about it when we get to Best Picture too. Should we save it for then?
Well, just because
We have like
I want
one
to
more of
clarify.
these. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Get rid of our awards and then we'll
I was
talk
ready
about
for like
the
7
individual
more.
categories. No. I was thinking about it, but then I ran out of time. So next moment, Best Presenters. We have Kate McKinnon, America Ferrera, and Steven Spielberg with the Jurassic documentary nude stuff.
Where is he?
He was in the
I
audience.
remember
Do you
he
remember
pointed,
that bit? Yeah.
It was because she was like,
Yeah.
dinosaurs aren't real, and she's like, America, not you too. That was funny.
Yep. Gosling and Blunt for a little Fall Guy preview there. Clearly showing off that they have good chemistry. A little
God.
Barbenheimer fight there, as
That was good.
he was talking about or she was talking about how it hasn't really been a competition awards wise, but then he goes box office route, all friendly there. As we mentioned earlier, naked John Cena for costume design was pretty funny. And apparently he was actually not wearing anything, according to
he was wearing a modesty sock. So
yeah,
had
a
the
unfortunate,
fortunate, however you want to look at it, if that envelope had fallen, it would not have been, an FCC violation.
Another, yeah.
But listen, it was as close.
As close as you can get.
Oh my God, I wanted to be the lawyer who was asked, how much can we show if he drops that thing by mistake without getting sued?
Yep. You can ask the director, whoever got Poor Things rated R instead of NC-17, how they managed that.
Listen, it's not that, No,
I know. I'm playing.
I have to watch The Cook, the Thief, the Wife, and Her Lover, because that was the infamous NC-17 movie, and so I can compare. Because I'm like, I don't know, but maybe our culture's just desensitized.
Yeah. No, it's our culture and country just doesn't like nudity for some reason, but we love violence. Schwarzenegger, DeVito, and Keaton, a little Batman
that was funny.
Stuff going on there. That was funny. And then I had one final spot. I thought Issa Rae and Rami Youssef handled Wes Anderson not being there pretty funny. How they said he wasn't going to get this Oscar. So yeah,
it was good. I mean, John Mulaney too. A lot of people were
multiple Madam Web jokes.
Yeah, that was. We had double the amount. No Saltburn outright, but we had 2 Madam Webs, and Madam Web was the first movie mentioned during the monologue.
Yep. Poor Madam Web.
Bless your heart.
Yeah. Dakota Johnson.
She'll live. She'll survive another day.
Yeah.
And we'll be happy for it. Out of these, I mean, listen, Gosling and Blunt obviously have the best chemistry. It was it was really funny. Naked John Cena. I mean, these were all great. I mean, it was really good duos. I, for one, listen.
I'm listening.
You had the cast of Wicked come out to Wicked music to present an award to Oppenheimer, and not only Oppenheimer, but my current favorite composer working today, which is Ludwig Göransson. Did they also do Billie Eilish?
They also did Billie Eilish, yeah.
Okay. They gave an award to Ludwig Göransson, Billie Eilish for Oppenheimer, Barbie, and they were the Wicked. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think Billie and Ariana know each other too, so they were like hugging and stuff.
Well, because when Billie won for
she won over Ariana Grande. No, I know. I was speaking in Twitter speak. I'm sorry.
Well, no, because what happened when she won, she beat her. Then in her speech she said, Ariana, this should have been yours. So like the same way that Adele won and then said, Beyonce, you're the artist of a generation. So I think because of that, they're very close. But Billie's our age. She grew up with Victoria.
It's insane.
But that moment of Wicked presenting to Barbie and Oppenheimer, that was
pretty much
Anthony.
Everything you love combined.
Everything I love combined. It really was
all in one frame. So I guess that would be your write-in vote. I'd probably, I don't know. I really liked the McKinnon Ferrera Spielberg bit. I thought that was really funny. I didn't expect that. interesting to do it right before like the two documentary ones, which are very like dark and serious subjects. But you know, very very good stuff there.
Can we talk about the fact that I was so ready for them to present, and now starting next year we have the
Best
award
stunts.
for
I
best
thought the
stunts.
exact same thing.
What?
That's how
How
they
do
should
you?
have done it.
So weird.
It's so stupid because it's like, oh sorry, we don't have a category, I guess we'll do like a 1 minute montage, like good job stunt workers. It's like, okay,
You know what it was? It
just
was, I guarantee you, it wasn't they were gonna do, well, I can't say that because I don't know that with I will admit I have no idea the origin of this, but it feels like they
yeah,
wanted to do a promotion for the Fall Guy and then came up with the tribute idea
yeah, I
than the
think
other
so.
way around.
Mhm.
I don't think they called up Emily and Ryan after being like, well, we have this stunt tribute. Why don't we get the next big movie that's going to be about stunt people? Um,
Yeah,
yeah, it just that felt weird. And also the the in memoriam. I don't know.
they just can't get it right, it
I
seems.
just
Just like
because I think
focus
they
on the
want to
people,
make
we don't
it
need to see
something.
dancers and stuff.
I don't think it ever should be in the background. It's just simple.
No,
And
no.
whenever we have an issue with the in memoriam, it's because it's always in the background. And then
Hmm.
the we're fading in and out, and then boom, 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 names at the end. I was like,
I
whoa,
know. Whoa
what?
there.
What
I guess,
legal
yeah,
issue is happening right now?
yeah,
Yeah,
rapid
that
fire.
was odd.
It was,
Um,
yeah.
so
They
yeah,
continue to fail at what should just be a very simple thing, but
yeah.
you know that
Just bring out
they're.
a competent singer to sing a song like
Well,
Hannah
they had a good
Waddingham.
singer this year.
I know, but like that's all you
It's just a
need.
presentation, but yeah,
Yeah, just bring somebody out and sing. You know.
yeah, and show the faces. Don't like do these like weird camera angles, and you can barely see who it is. It's like, okay, my God. Okay, let us see. I don't know if I have any other categories. Let's see. No, okay, I don't.
And we talked
Um,
about this.
yeah, we kind of did. I think I like the idea. I like it really a lot. I just think because we had a little extra time as well, I think you should have the actor introduce, do that little their little blurb about the person, then do like a little clip of the performance, and then go on to the next person. Because I love the acting clips, and I also love this, and I think combining them would be amazing. And also, it
Yeah,
would get rid of. There's a little bit of an awkward gap in between one person speaking to the next person. I think having a clip in between there might make it a little smoother.
so this is the thing. I don't think we need the best picture clips, frankly. I don't
No, no.
really get the point because we're for the most of these movies, they're getting clips throughout the show. They're almost
Hmm.
certainly getting clips throughout the show. There's no
Yeah,
way you're not featured. There's no way you're only nominated for one category, and that's Best Picture.
yeah. Not
Which
yet.
on Al Pacino, apparently this wasn't like he flubbed. He was told
Yeah.
by the producers to go straight to the envelope.
Hmm.
Which
He still had a little flair instead of my eyes
he
see
added
Oppenheimer.
he added a little flair.
The Oscar goes
I
to,
agree.
you
But
know.
I think the confusion was more because we're so used to older
Hmm.
members of the Academy going out and flubbing this that they didn't believe it at first. But had they told them all, we're not doing the nominees. But frankly, listen, you know, if I'm a producer, I don't think, we read out the nominees for every other
It
category. We're
takes
not
like
reading
five
out, we're not
seconds.
reminding you of the titles. You should say the
Yeah.
producers. Just
Hmm.
for example, Margot Robbie did all this work to produce this movie. It's just because we're at the end of the show and we're cut for time doesn't mean that they don't get the same honor that the sound designers got,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
They did
So,
the same thing for original song because they were all presented. They didn't say the nominees. It's like, well, Becky G performed the song, but she didn't write that song. So what's going on? Like,
so
at least
yeah,
it
I
takes
think
like 10 seconds. I don't know.
take away the best picture clips and put it at the end.
Yeah.
But other than that, I do think my I see Oppenheimer was a
It's
very
funny.
fun clip.
It's very funny.
And then
It's
you can
just
see Emma Thomas's face was like, all right, I guess that was the moment I was
everyone's
waiting for
reaction. Yeah.
25 years.
Yep. It's so I feel bad for them. It's a little anticlimactic. Everyone's just like, oh, okay, I guess we're
They're
going up.
fine.
But
They
they
won
already knew
7
they were going
Oscars.
up.
They're good.
Yeah. They're
But as far so I like this, but
hmm
I also think that listen, I understand you because I do think I love the tradition of bringing back the previous winner of last
yeah.
year this year. But sometimes, like Brendan Fraser talking to Jeffrey Wright, like have they ever done a movie
No,
together?
my other issue with it is for a lot of them, it was clearly just like blurbs that were written and were on a teleprompter in front of them, and you could tell that there wasn't much passion from the person. And it was
Yeah.
sometimes like pretty basic stuff, like Jeffrey Wright, your work is always amazing and you inspire me. Congratulations. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, I
like we
guess
could have
that's
done
what you
that.
got. Yeah, I think you can add it. Maybe that's on the writers for the blurbs, but I think you could like
Compared to
add a little
Nicolas
more to it.
Cage,
Nicolas
who
Cage
like
added his own flair
understood the
to it.
assignment. But
Hmm.
like that's what I think. That I just think we just need to be a little bit less rehearsed, a
Hmm.
little bit more. It can't be too off the cuff because then we've seen what happens when the Oscars go off the cuff. But
Yeah.
a little bit more genuine. But I love the idea, and yes, the clips because
Hmm.
I was like, well, do we really need the clips? But then I was reminded of, I believe this is true. Carrie Mulligan has been nominated 3 times and never has her clip been shown during the Oscars.
Really?
No, because I don't. All the years that
Oh,
she's been nominated, I don't think they've shown the clips. Um,
poor Carey
and
Mulligan.
maybe that's
Oh,
wrong, and
actually,
people
she's
will
probably
fact check.
happy about that. Most actors don't like seeing themselves on screen,
I
so.
understand, but at the same time, it is your work. You're proud of your work. It's 20 seconds, and the idea that
Mhm.
we get a sense of like what I loved about like sound design is like they took out everything. You got to hear all the layers of the sound design, and like it's a really great show. It's like a mini bake
Mhm.
off for 10
The
seconds.
screenplay showcase was
Yeah,
cool too.
and the idea that like the people don't, because listen, we've seen Maestro, but I guarantee you not all 20 million people who watched last night did. So
Mhm.
it's a way to show off your work and be proud. And there's a part of me that when I realized that I was like, yeah, I would get a little miffed if I keep going and I never get to showcase my work. So
That's
I
fair.
think
Yeah.
I think refine the people who give the speeches, but I like the idea. Bring them out, do a clip, and then
Mhm.
yeah, I think, and then get rid of the best picture clips. We don't need those.
Yeah. Yeah. As Stephen points out, thank you, Stephen. Too many. I think I'm fine with there being 5 people. I do think it, as we see with lots of reactions to people out there, it's a little awkward when there is 5 people up there. I think Cillian probably handled
Six
it the
too
best.
sometimes.
Yeah, addressing each person individually. Like I will get to Robert Downey Jr. in general in a second. I found the way he handled Ke Huy Quan handing him the Oscar a little disrespectful. It might have not been intentional, but it came off I mean, it's Taylor Swift at the Grammys
It's
all
I was
over
gonna
again. It
say
came off really badly to me. Like in the moment, I was like, okay. He didn't even look at him. He's like, because Robert Downey Jr. also has a little bit of
I
a,
think he looked.
you
I just don't think
egotistical aura
he.
about him.
I think he looked and he like went to like do a little movement with the. I have to be above Steven. He went with a little movement.
Yeah.
I don't like. I agree. I think but that's also because they're not used to doing this, and I think Killian,
Mhm.
thankfully, had seen 2 people
He
already do
handled it.
this. It was like, all right, I'm gonna go thank
Yeah, that's true.
all the people. Um,
Emma Stone
so
did it pretty well too. She addressed everyone.
it also helps that Emma Stone's person who did her thing was the furthest away, like from where she
Hmm.
got up. So like
Yeah.
how do you not go thank Sally Field who did your thing and Jennifer?
Hmm.
And yeah, I also think that she was delaying any chance before she had to go give that speech.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that either the person who's holding the award is the only one, like they announce the person, everybody else like takes a firm step
Steps
back
back.
and they are
Yeah.
treated as if, because I remember when Frances McDormand made a whole big deal that she went to like shake the hands of the people.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
they can do that, but then that means you're actually going out of your way and it's not expected that you go shake the hands of everybody else. Or you tell them they're going to be 5 people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go get your Oscar. Um,
Hmm.
and maybe they put whoever has the Oscar at the end of the line so that you have to,
Yeah.
that way we can really tell if you're a dick and you
Yeah.
don't
And
thank
just
them
walk
and you
by.
go
Yeah.
straight for that. But
Straight by.
yeah,
Yeah.
listen, that's that Irish, kindness that
Hmm.
Killian
Hmm.
had to
Yeah.
thank everybody.
A fellow Murphy, fellow Irishman.
Mhm.
Um, as Mark points out, yeah, I think some of the actors are probably also worried about. You get 45 seconds. You probably don't want to spend all of it. Shaking everyone's hand, but
Yeah.
I do think it came off a little weird to me. And he also, I mean, he started the speech by like walking up the steps and like peace signing everyone or something.
Well, and
We'll get to him.
also, listen, no disrespect to Ke Huy Quan because he's a wonderful
Mhm.
talent and was a really wonderful winner last year, but he's on a stage with all these other, more well-known actors. It's a little. I think it's difficult for him to stand out in that group. You know, Downey's going
He's
up
the
to
one
Sam
handing him the
Rockwell.
Oscar.
I understand. But Sam, he's going up to
I think
Sam
it's just
Rockwell, who
basic
he's known
decency.
for 20 years. But it's just the idea that, this is my issue with this idea in general, which is just that there are people on there who've known each other for like 30 years, and then somebody who literally was told, you're reading this off for this actor that you've never met yesterday. And I just think that's the issue with this category. So with this way of doing it, it's just the mix of the people who are there who know you and the people who don't know you, and trying to finagle it all. And yeah, it felt very much like, and then also, as we know, you get lost in the moment. Sylvester Stallone, when he won his Golden Globe, got lost in the moment. Celine Dion and Taylor Swift. It just happens. I don't really blame them, because I don't think we saw it with Emma Stone. I don't think you can actually understand what's going on. Like, she blacks out. Olivia Colman said she blacked out. You know, that they just go into a daze. I don't begrudge them anything. I'm surprised they say anything in that moment.
No, I just do think, I don't know. I feel like most
You're
people,
right. That's fair.
if you're being handed an award, to not even look at the person and like just go immediately to the person next to them, even if you're buddies with them. I do think. I mean, Taylor Swift pretty much did the exact same thing, and big fan of Taylor Swift.
This is just so common. Again, this is why I remember when we did the SAG reactions, and we were, you were upset about Charles Melton, but I was pretty much fine. And then I was told on Twitter that I had the wrong reaction, and everybody was so angry. I was like, guys, this is just what it always is. I don't understand why granted, it might be justified that people have that reaction, but I don't know. I don't tend to get upset with things that are inoffensive. Kiwi Kwan is fine, and I think they, backstage,
they took a selfie afterwards.
They took this, they're fine. And in the end, like, this thing happens all the time. There's always one person who gets distracted and doesn't give the presenter their due.
Yeah. I don't, as you can tell behind the scenes, I don't think the main person who that would affect would be Ki Kwan, and he didn't seem to care that much. So we shouldn't care too much either. But I think I think also, speaking of finally on the acting people, I think other people who did a really good job. Lupita, I think, connecting with Divine during talking about the grandma's glasses and that, I thought that was a great moment. I think that's pretty. As you said, Nicolas Cage. I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, and as was mentioned earlier, I think Tim Robbins flubbed Robert De Niro, saying it was an Oscar-winning performance, which was funny, and I managed to get Robert De Niro to smile. That was also a funny moment.
He smiled, I think, when Pacino came out too.
You could see Robert De Niro's reaction when they read his name too, because it was Robert D and then Downey Jr., and he was just like, haha. So it's achievement to get him to smile.
Oh, that Jodie Foster joke with him, that was a really funny joke. That's when I was like, all right, Kimmel, you've been good.
Yeah.
And that, hey, that's a joke that we've heard time and time again, but it was delivered. And it didn't even dawn on me until now that it was like, oh, Taxi Driver. Haha. Yeah. I didn't even think about it.
Little connection there. Love Jodie Foster. Watch True Detective. We'll talk about it in Emmy season. I don't know.
One of the few shows.
Well, Limited has. Well, we don't need to go on a tangent. Limited has some contenders.
Please God.
Let's get into the actual winners now, guys. We can combine these two together. Best Picture and Director, Oppenheimer and Nolan. You're the huge Oppenheimer fan of us too. I'm also a fan, but I mean, it's like your favorite movie of all time, so I'll let you.
Speak on it. La La Land's my favorite, and then Oppenheimer.
Yes.
And I do think Oppenheimer is a masterpiece. Yes, I'm very happy. I was incredibly happy for Emma Thomas and Christopher Nolan. I think it's wonderful. They're a wonderful couple. They're one of the most influential creative partnerships of the last 30 years, and I'm glad that we finally recognize them for such. And we recognize them for the right movie. I do think that in the end, as much as I probably would have given Dark Knight the win over Slumdog Millionaire, I'm glad it was for this. Great speeches. I do think I was getting worried when they did director and then actress. I was like, did we learn nothing?
Well, they usually do. Don't they usually do actress?
No, usually they either do director. They never separate actor and actress. I always think actor and actress are together. And what I was getting worried is that they thought they were going to get another, important win, and they were gonna, because everybody knows Oppenheimer. I was like, dear Lord in heaven, did we not learn? And
something happened to Anthony. We'll have to see. Who knows? Is he there?
Am I back?
Oh, there you are. Back? Yeah, you disappeared for a second.
Hang on. I can't hear anything. Yep. No.
Oh no. Well, we can hear him. Oh, he's back again. He's disappeared. Anthony, a big Oppenheimer fan, but I guess he's not able to speak on it during this.
I'll be right back.
And
Keep
yeah,
going.
Anthony will be right back. I'll keep talking. Now I get to give my thoughts on it. Yeah, I mean, we all saw this coming. Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan, throughout the whole season. Yes, Anthony, unfortunately, he's gone. Yeah. Rodney. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit too, but you can go back a little second. But yeah, I think overall pretty good win, pretty expected. Here's Anthony. Let's see.
There we go.
He's alive. Yeah.
I'm alive. So yeah, but anyway, I was very happy. I'm glad it was the last award of the night.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Christopher Nolan is
Good
now
speech
an
from
Oscar-winning
everyone.
director.
Yeah, and I thought it was great how they had Steven Spielberg give it to him. I thought that was a nice connection there. They had a nice, compared to everyone else, a nice long hug.
Yeah. I said last week that he was the Spielberg of our generation, and I was thankful that the governors of the Oscars apparently agree.
Yes, they do. They do. I guess the Daniels, isn't it? Don't the past director winners usually give it out, or is that
Not always, because
not
like I
always? Okay.
remember, because I mean, listen, you could always go into the politics of it. Like Emma Stone presented it to Guillermo del Toro, but that was probably more because
Yeah,
Casey Affleck wasn't there. So like
that's true.
I don't think you ever know, but like Spike Lee presented it to Bong Joon-ho, not Alfonso Cuarón. So it's not the same tradition that the actors are. So yeah, I think listen, all respect to the Daniels, but to get it from Spielberg, 30 years after Schindler's List, I think it was a good call. But man, they really, you go through Oscar history, it's him and Jack Nicholson. They always give those awards out.
Yep. And maybe they should. I won't say that. Never mind. Anything else on Oppenheimer and Christopher Nolan? I mean, it was to be expected. Great moment. Happy for them. Interested to see what Christopher Nolan does next. Now that he's had his big Oscars moment, it'll be interesting to see where. Apparently, according to the music, as he walked off stage, he is directing the next Pirates of the Caribbean movie. So I guess that's what we know at this point.
Like you picked the one movie that Hans Zimmer didn't write for Christopher Nolan.
Yep. I guess they were trying to make a point or something. I don't know. Yeah, there we go. And as Stephen points out, Best Picture didn't go to Emma Stone this year, but Best Actress did.
Oh my god! Yeah, that was the
could
other
have happened again.
Funny.
Yeah, that was a good joke from Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah.
That's crazy though, and it would have probably been the second. That would have been funny.
Yeah, it would have been. I'm sure she'll win another lead actress Oscar, so I'm sure there's another opportunity for that to happen down the road.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Speaking of, okay, so I believe she's within a year, or it is the same year because I don't know when her birthday is specifically, but I think Meryl won her second. Meryl Streep by 34, and she's 35. So
okay.
She's following in the footsteps.
I think she's the best actress of her generation. Yeah.
I really do. You just look at her performances. Just looking at the four that got her Oscar nominations: Birdman, La La Land, The Favorite, Poor Things. No other actor, I feel, has those type of roles. First off,
none of them
they're
are
all leaning comedy or outright comedies. And I said that. I think that is remarkable and just shows how good she is, that she will bring gravitas to any genre. She is funny. People love her. She has great instincts. I mean, the fact that she delivered one of the best performances I've seen on a Broadway stage, and that's like her 5th best performance. She's incredible. We should go into the actual, awards of it all and the predictions, because I feel like we were both thinking Emma Stone.
I'm so close.
Until SAG. And I think our thought process was SAG is a more populist group. And if they got on board with Killers of the Flower Moon and they didn't go for the movie star, then that might be where we're going. And of course, SAG was very indicative last year, predicting 4 for 4 what the acting categories would be.
But usually BAFTA is more predictive, which is why I should have stuck with my gut. I think we were blinded by last year, maybe a little bit.
I also think BAFTA is usually later in this season, right? It doesn't SAG usually happen before BAFTA. So I think that's
SAG is usually before BAFTA.
It's usually closer to the actual Oscars. So, I
in the
think
voting period, SAG did happen later in the voting period. Lots of people had probably already voted, whereas BAFTA's happened before the voting, where Emma Stone did win. So
listen, I think we talked about this last week,
Yeah.
where Emma, like Lily Gladstone, like that award would have been really wonderful for her, as it would be for any actor.
Mhm.
I do hope that I saw an interesting thing this morning, with everybody doing their think pieces, and
Yes.
compare what happened to Viola Davis when Viola Davis, didn't win in Best Actress, went to supporting the year Emma Stone won for La La Land, and I do think that her getting her validation from the industry for a supporting actress, I do think changed her positioning in Hollywood.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
to the point that, that's why I think when Ma Rainey happened, you could sense that I'm not doing it again. And she went lead. Um,
Hmm.
and I hope that Lily going lead does help her. Maybe she would have won in supporting, but maybe not.
He's already
Devine
got a
Joy
lead
Randolph,
role going forward.
yeah, Devine Joy Randolph was an incredible, as we saw, an incredible competitor,
Hmm.
and was a way to honor the holdovers, which I do think was a more beloved movie when it came to actually wanting to give a win to
Yeah.
something than Killers of the Flower
Killers
Moon.
was like bottom three, I think, which
Yeah,
is why I should have stuck. If you remember the stat I brought up last week, when it's in a so-so year, when it's not a sweeper, you go with whoever's in the stronger film overall. And you brought up to me how Killers has 10 nominations, Poor Things only has 11. It's only one difference.
only has 11.
Only 11. They won four of them.
Yeah,
But yeah, I should have stuck. I think that's what I'm going to do going forward. Stronger film, then
yeah.
and it's not a sweeper. That's who's going to win.
I mean, in the end, my reasoning for going Lily was just I felt that the only, people thinking that she wasn't in the stronger film was just because that everybody other than her associated with that team has won previously. De Niro, I almost said Pacino, Scorsese, DiCaprio, and so yeah, and I think that they had tended to, with Coda's win, Parasite's win, Everything Everywhere, they just seemed to be drifting a little bit more towards being more, politically aware with what the award represents. But I think also they're not always going to be that. And I do think in the end it came down to they love Emma Stone. They love Emma Stone in a way that I don't think we've seen with an actor recently. Even, because honestly, of her generation, I mean, have we seen anything like it? Like, do we really have to go back to
No.
Frances McDormand? Is that really the last? And I'm talking about like, I know she won her two recently, like the
Hmm.
back to back within 3 years, but still, like she's from the last generation.
Yeah. Yeah, she is.
So I think that too, like I think we maybe were doubting how much popularity she actually has. She was in the more popular movie.
She's so
It
likable too.
surprised. It surprised in many categories. Some people thought it would go home with 0. It got 4, and it's the first
Hmm.
film since Mad Max: Fury Road to get costume production and makeup and hairstyling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not surprised. In the end, I wasn't surprised. I was a little shocked, but I wasn't surprised. And it
Hmm.
might have been my favorite moment of the night because I do love. She's my favorite actor. I love Emma Stone.
Yeah.
She was the one I would have wanted to. I would have voted for her, as I said last week.
Hmm.
So I can't really complain. And I do think that in the end, I hope that Lily has some projects lined up. Hopefully, she will get more. I do think that in the end, she positioned herself as a lead actress in Hollywood. She was probably the runner-up, and
Hmm.
she has the Scorsese stamp of approval, and I hope maybe she can find some more roles, where she can claim ownership and she can get the most screen time in her movie because that might have been also a factor with her what ended up happening with the category. Who knows? We'll never
Yeah.
know. We never get the tallies. We'll never know exactly why.
We should.
Um,
Yeah.
but oh god, it would be a nightmare. Are
Not
you
for
kidding me?
older seasons. Like once everyone's dead, you can give us the stats. Who cares at that
So
point? And we're
yeah,
getting to that point with some of the older ones, but they
yeah.
probably don't have the stats for those.
But
Um,
yeah, so I'm very
yeah,
happy. And listen, two-time Oscar winner Emma Stone has a nice
sounds
ring to
right.
it.
It does.
Sorry.
It does. It's fitting. She's up there with Jodie Foster, who also won her second one at around the same age. And I think Hilary Swank also around the same age.
Yeah, I guess Hillary Swank and Jodie Foster would probably be the people that she's joining now, in that
Yes.
group. That's how
Yeah, because Francis has four. So yeah.
I do think it would have been. It's crazy that Annette Bening wasn't nominated for 20th Century Women, but had she been, then Annette would have lost twice to
Yeah.
Emma and twice to
Hmm.
Hillary Swank.
Hmm. She's gonna eventually just lose to everyone at this point. Poor Annette. She needs the right role. Stephen asks, Fave Emma win, La La Land or Poor Things? I personally, performance-wise, I think Poor Things is the harder task. I think it's more of a feat. So I would say Poor Things.
I think Poor Things is her better performance. Like it is the craft wise, it's the best performance she may have given.
Probably.
But favorite, I mean, again, I can't undermine.
La La
Like
Land's your, yeah.
La La Land is my wallpaper on my phone and my computer.
Mm-hmm.
I fully believe it's a part of the reason why I am currently sitting here in California. So I can't
Mm-hmm.
take that
In La La
away.
Land.
Yes, in La La Land. So I can't favorite. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Favorite's
probably.
different than best. Yeah.
Yeah, and listen, I love Bella Baxter, but that last look in that movie in the club, sorry, there's nothing that comes close to that.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
That's a good look. My favorite moment for her in that film is when she's like talking to Ryan Gosling outside the car, and she's just like, "Maybe I'm not good enough."
Because, what if it's a pipe dream?
Well, yeah, of course you have like the lines memorized. I don't know if
Oh, you get me. Any scene, I'm there.
Mm-hmm. I could do the Anatomy of a Fall monologue. We won't do that right now, but I could do that. Yes, Stephen has another thing to point out for us. Thank you, Stephen, for the super chats. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
As we enter the end of award season, Stephen's been a consistent viewer, consistent super chatter. We really appreciate it. He's pointing out, I think you maybe just read what happened, what the super chat says. As Stephen points out, all Scorsese's films recently won nothing, in going 0 for 10 with Irishman and Killers, Wolf of Wall Street 0 to 5. He should direct Bradley Cooper and Glenn Close and Amy Adams with Diane Warren on music. Our little group of everyone with a ton of nominations and no wins. Diane Warren an honorary win, but
listen, Alfred Hitchcock never personally won an Oscar. He won Best Picture, but he never his movie won Best Picture, but he never won. And I don't think Kubrick ever won either. I think 2001 might have gotten like a special technical achievement thing, but like those are the greats, like the all-timers, the people who like. I've been in quite a number of film classes. They always come up, and they not only come up, they are the leading theories that we study. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've heard a bomb goes off, surprise versus suspense. I'm sure if you've been to film school, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So like, listen, it doesn't, in the end, these people are going to be remembered. It doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah. They're legends.
You know,
I think that's why it stands out, because they don't have any.
Yeah. But like,
well, Scorsese
with Scorsese, it's like, listen,
it's so crazy. He only has one. Billie Eilish has more Oscars than Martin Scorsese.
It's funny. But listen, I think the thing with Scorsese, and I think we forget this. I have to talk over the blurb.
Steven's taking up those room.
Yes, is that yes, he is a staple of American cinema, and he is beloved by the industry. But he was never Spielberg. He was never Lucas. He was never making movies that were easy to digest. I mean, he made, you know, The Last Temptation of Christ and Taxi Driver. Like these were movies like Taxi Driver was like so controversial. Like he never made safe movies. And the Academy Award, that's why I loved Emma Stone's win, because that is so not a safe performance. The fact that we
haven't seen something like that win Best Actress,
that and Best Sound Design. You know, it's a crazy Oscars when those are the two categories that get people the most excited.
It was fitting to have Michelle Yeoh give it to her too, because that was also a pretty unique performance last year for Best Actress.
Yeah, so I think that to me, like the fact that, you know, Scorsese is wildly respected, but at the same time, he's always been one step ahead of us. He's always been telling stories and pushing us forward, and we're always having to catch up to Scorsese. That's why The Departed, it took so long to get to The Departed. So yes, we can make a big deal that, his last 4 movies, he's 0 for 26. But I mean, we're seeing them, and he's doing more for cinema than maybe the majority of filmmakers. So believe me, he's fine. I also, Francesca Scorsese's TikTok is a thing that we need to preserve.
Him reacting to I'm Just Ken.
That compared to him reacting to Lose Yourself when the Irishman was there.
Well, Francesca did clarify that you Lose Yourself year that he does that when he's listening to music he likes. He closes his eyes. So I think he was a fan of Eminem.
I just the difference. I also like that excited. We got a little bit of that. Now everybody's saying flashlights on.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's saying flashlights on. Everybody sung. No one had their flashlights on. But yeah.
So yes, I do think it's, you know, it's unfortunate that these people, you know, because they obviously want that, and all talent want to be validated and want to be respected by their peers. But it's not like they're not, you know, even with a nomination, you know, they are. I mean,
let's see. Martin Scorsese, is he going to win another Oscar? for by the time he's done making movies. I'm not gonna be morbid.
No, I don't think so. Because I don't think he's making movies that
He's probably
benefit.
only got like 2 left, right?
Because listen, we've talked about this. You've got to be better than the best you've ever done. That's why Nolan won.
I think he
Because
has that
nobody.
in him.
I think he has that in him. But the thing that made Nolan win and Oppenheimer win is because it was you could say it was not an unpopular opinion to say this was Nolan's best movie. It was not an unpopular opinion to say Schindler's List was Steven Spielberg's best movie. That's when these legends win. And even Spielberg, he couldn't win Best Picture again. You know, he won Director for Saving Private Ryan, but it's very hard to do it again.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm trying to think when was the last time. Like Alejandro Inarritu, he
That
won
was 2
Director
years in
twice,
a row. Yeah.
but he didn't win Best Picture. I think it's very hard. You know, listen, you have your moment, you have your time, but you know that's why people like Emma Stone, like that's what makes it so special. Like
It's easier
wow,
for actors,
they're
I think,
really
honestly.
anointing. It is easier for actors because they have, I think, more variety than directors. You know,
And they've got multiple
directors
categories to go into.
exactly. Well, I mean, directors do screenplay and directing and
That's
fiction.
true. That's fair if they're right.
But
Yeah. I'm gonna be
yeah.
optimistic. I think one of these last few movies he makes, he's gonna win for something.
I have
but-
a more interesting question. Who on that list, the bottom 4, do you think is going to be the first, if any, to win an Oscar?
I'm gonna go with my heart and say Amy Adams. I want her to win an Oscar. I'm sorry, Bradley Cooper. I don't know what he's gonna do. Bradley Cooper will win an Oscar eventually. I'm very confident about that.
I
Glenn
think
Close, I don't think she's going to win an Oscar, to be honest. Amy Adams will. Diane Warren, probably not. That's what I
I
would say.
think Bradley is going to win for producing before he wins for acting. I think he's going to go the Brad
Interesting.
Pitt route.
Maybe, yeah. For
I mean, he
Joker
has
too.
almost how many? I think he has a nomination for
He's
American
got 12
Sniper.
nominations, I think.
I know, but he has American Sniper for producing.
Mhm.
A Star is
Joker.
Born, Joker. Did he produce Nightmare Alley? I forget.
I don't remember. Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm sure the comments
And
will let
then
us know.
Maestro, right? So like he has
Mhm.
almost as many, like half of his nominations are for producing. So I think if he produces a movie he's not in, then we're cooking with gas.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. Who would you pick? I said Amy Adams. Would you pick Bradley?
I think Bradley Cooper. We should note that I believe it's true that Frances McDormand and Emma Stone are the only 2 people to be nominated for producing and acting in the same year, right?
We could have
And
had it with Natalie Portman and Margot Robbie, but they
we
messed
could
up.
have, but they're the only 2, and they both won. So that says something.
For actress, yes.
Yeah.
Frances got a double.
Frances did get the double. But I think that's interesting that if a woman produces her own movie and she gets into acting,
I think it's probably more of a coincidence than
wins.
like a statistic, but
I'm just
yes.
saying, I think it helps because it means that guess what character is going to have a lot of attention and care around it? The one that the producer has.
Do you think Zendaya produced Challengers?
Did she? I don't know.
Oscar-winning role? Oscar-winning
We'll see.
role? No. Yeah. Stephen.
It's funny. I think Zendaya will win an Oscar before any of those 4 other people win.
No, maybe. It depends on what she picks going forward.
She has 2 Emmys already. 2.
Yes, but
she's
she
in the
doesn't have any
biggest-
Oscar nominations.
We'll see. Listen, Emma Stone didn't have any, and then boom, 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 boom.
That's true. Yeah, will depend on what she chooses to do. And yeah, Scorsese could win if he does clarify this is his last film, but I don't see him doing that. I think he's going to want to work until he really can't.
And all respect to you, Stephen. Can somebody find me an example of when somebody said, "This is my last movie," and we all
think
paid
it kind of
attention?
worked for Miyazaki.
Yeah, but he said The Wind Rises was his last movie. He always said that he was like that. Like, there's
That's
always
true.
those people who say, like Clint Eastwood, "This is my last movie. This is my last movie." I'm talking about like somebody like Daniel Day-Lewis. Phantom Thread, he said was his last movie, and we haven't seen shit from him in the last like decade.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like, because I feel like we never believe them. That's the problem.
Well, we'll see what as Barry points out. We'll see what Quentin Tarantino. I don't believe him, to be honest, but we'll see. That's going to be a contender soon.
You know what? He's such a neurotic genius that I think in his mind
he's not going to be able to
10,
stop.
I
don't think he can stop.
We'll see. That'll be interesting. I kind of believe him because I just think he's that
Mm,
wonderful and crazy.
I guess. I think I'll
and
maybe
he's putting-
stop for a little while.
I think he knows that the type of movies he wants to make, like, I think he took a break now because think about it. His last movie was right before the streaming surge with Disney Plus and Apple TV Plus. Like that was all right after Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think he knows that like he has to. I think he's taking a break for that reason. So I'm interested to see if
Yeah.
he even thinks that he can make his movies anymore. But listen, with the 70mm IMAX craze that's happening with Oppenheimer and Dune,
Yeah.
there's definitely a world for him. So come on back, Tarantino.
There is for sure. I do think Glenn Close will get an honorary Oscar very soon. I don't think she'll get a competitive one. I do think Zendaya is very worthy. She can give an Oscar-worthy performance. I don't know if she's done it yet. She's done awards-winning performances on TV, not in film. But she's very capable, so I'm sure she is.
And again, I defend this performance probably more than anybody else because I think it was No, I didn't see Malcolm.
I thought that's where you were going. Okay.
No, I defend this performance more than most people because what it means to the movie and it's out there and it's a fun, wacky performance. If Jamie Lee Curtis can win for Everything Everywhere All at Once, then Zendaya can certainly win for something in her body of work. I mean, frankly, her work in Dune Part 2
Shake It Up is better than Everything Everywhere All at Once. Her work in Casey Undercover is better than Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I want that clipped and sent to the rest of the internet.
To Jamie Lee Curtis?
No context. No, with no context. Listen, we both loved her in Dune Part 2, and what she has to do with that movie and the transition and her reactions, it's heartbreaking, and really, it's a beautiful performance. So, like, listen, to me, that's Oscar caliber acting. That's the thing with a lot of these, and why I don't tend to get upset with these things, except if it's like The Whale or Green
Jamie
Book.
Lee Curtis.
Even then, I don't get mad about Jamie Lee Curtis because when you're there, in the end, most of these people, they've been working their whole lives. They've given us so many things. Like, I don't know. I can't remember.
I'm not mad for them. I'm just mad that that's the performance that is winning.
But then say it's for Freaky Friday.
But it's not a meritocracy. She should win. I'll say it's for Freaky Friday. True. That's how
because in the end, like, these people, all of them are deserving. They're all trying their hardest, and they're making this conversation. Like, we talk about these things from July to March because of the work that they do. So
we'll be starting earlier than July this year, guys. Don't worry.
God.
Don't worry. Yeah, Zendaya could get in for challengers. We'll talk about that in April, the week after my birthday.
Listen, Emma Stone was a movie star and then became, like, she had Easy A, Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. She went and did a couple Woody Allen movies that everybody forgot about. But like, super bad. Like, she solidified her movie stardom and then pivoted to Yorgos Lanthimos. So Zendaya, listen, she's in one of the top 10 highest gross movies of all time. Dune is a big thing, helping her career out, and I think then she will start. I think she's also Euphoria is clinging to her, and they need to let her go.
Euphoria is clinging to that entire cast, to be honest. Sydney Sweeney, Jacob Elordi, they would all be much better if they were freed from it, to be honest.
Coleman Domingo.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be in the Oscar conversation next year too. We've been stuck on this Emma Stone slide for a little while now, so let's
move on. It's like she's here.
It is, yeah, it is one of the best wins of the night. Best actor, another amazing win, Cillian Murphy. I think I tweeted about this. I do think you might disagree. I want to see if you agree with me. I think he had the strongest, most rapturous reaction from the audience when he won. He got up there, and the noise from the audience, the applauding. He had to take a minute before he even started. He seemed blown away by it. I love seeing that for him. He seemed great.
I think because this is the reason. For when's the last time that somebody won Best Actor and you could go up, like, the general person on the side of the street didn't know who they were? Like Will Smith, we know
who they were.
Didn't know. Like, he's not a movie star. Like Anthony Hopkins, Will Smith.
Not really a movie star.
He was in
I think
Mummy.
Lots of people.
People may have forgotten, but he was a big part of that thing is because he was a big deal. Same with Renee Zellweger. Like, they were movie stars in their day. Like, Cillian Murphy, his biggest thing before this was a television show on Netflix. That wasn't Stranger Things. It wasn't Game of Thrones. It was well seen and well liked, but it wasn't. It's not like he won an Emmy for it. I think what they loved about this was that you were given an unbelievable opportunity with this role that every actor would love to get, because it wasn't given to you because of your star power. It was given to you because you were the best person for the role. And I think the fact that he gave that performance and blew everybody away and then won because of that, I think that had something to do with it. It was like if you build it, they will come. Speaking of Field of Dreams and John Mulaney, that sort of idea. Like you didn't win because it's the opposite of I Love Downey, but it's the opposite of the career thing. You won solely
Mm-hmm.
for the merits of your performance, and that's what I think was
Mm-hmm.
so reassuring to that crowd.
And there's, as we see by the wins, lots of love for Oppenheimer, and he is quite literally Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
So I think seeing him up there, and he
He's
handled it
kind of
gracefully.
like an ingenue. Honestly, as far as
A little
actors
bit,
go,
yeah.
when was the? I mean, I'm trying to think.
He's one of the younger ones. Yeah, they
Yeah.
award it to old people. Yeah. Yes.
He won on his first
tweeted Cillian Murphy
nomination.
is making Best Actor sexy again, which is true.
Yeah.
Looking at the
He
past
won on
years.
his first nomination. I mean, that's rare for this category,
It
especially in
is,
the modern age.
Yeah, happened last year, but it's still pretty rare.
Yeah.
I do think this is a great acting quartet overall. We'll talk about RDJ and DJR in a second. They got the same letters in there. Same group of letters.
Oh, we should have known about that.
As you'll see in a second, I discovered that when making the title, but we'll get to that in a second. How does this? I think I still prefer the 2020 quartet of Hopkins, McDormand, Kaluuya, and Yoon.
That was
it's a good
quite
one.
the quartet. But I would say this is my favorite quartet. I just think, like, I'm sorry, you put
of all time.
First off, definitely since I've been covering it.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I mean, first off, all of these performances came from my top 10 favorites of the year.
Yeah.
And would be top 5. Holdovers, I think it's like number 6 or number 7.
Close.
And I've loved Divine Joy Randolph for the last 5 years. I think she's wonderful. But you put Cillian Murphy, who gave one of my favorite performances of all time, and then you put Robert Downey Jr. and Emma Stone, who are my favorite actors growing up when I was 12 years old. Yeah, sorry, this is my favorite acting quartet. Again, this is a wicked moment.
It's a good one.
When I saw the pic, I was so waiting for the picture of the 4 of them posing together.
We haven't had one of all of them together in so long.
I know, but I was just
did we have it last year? We did.
I think we had it last year.
Yes.
But
it
I
was the 2 years
it.
before that we didn't.
Well, because we didn't have it with Will Smith.
No, and then Anthony Hopkins wasn't there.
So. No, but I was watching, and I was just looking at that picture. It's like, did I dream this up?
Yeah.
Because I said that at the beginning.
You manifested.
I said that at the beginning of the season. I was like, listen, if we're going into a season where Christopher Nolan, Emma Stone, and Robert Downey Jr. are winning Oscars, I am not going to contain myself. And that's what happened.
Yep. Here we are. Another good point from Mark here. I agree with. Cillian really disappeared into Oppenheimer. I would agree. When you watch Maestro, I totally see that's Bradley Cooper acting. I don't see completely Leonard Bernstein. Paul, I do see. I think his character is also named Paul. I do see the character, but I do think it's very similar to roles he's done before, and he makes it look so easy that I think people underestimate him in that. But I do think overall, Cillian is the biggest achievement in the category by a long shot, in my opinion. So
I would say
I'm very happy for him.
I got to go back. I'm going to look this up while you do the next thing.
Okay, let's move on then.
I'm going to make a bold statement, but I want to be informed before I do.
Okay. Supporting actor, as I said before, RDJ and DJR, Divine Joy Randolph, and Robert Downey Jr. Two pretty much sweepers. I think we were even more confident in these than we were in the lead acting categories. They pretty much swept the season. We talked about Divine's speech before. I don't know how much there is to say on it. She's incredible. Probably my favorite speech of the night. Lovely, incredible note to start on. Robert Downey Jr., we also talked about him accepting the award a little bit earlier. I was expecting his speech to be a little more sentimental, to be honest. It seemed like maybe he was holding back in his past speeches. I thought maybe he might mention his father, which we think had a whole documentary about it last year. It just seemed, I don't know. He seemed like he expected it and like it wasn't a huge deal to him. But, I'm sure you disagree with that. His win in the quartet is what drags it down for me personally. I love all the other ones.
Well, I obviously disagree with
you
that.
Disagree.
No, I think
yes,
listen, he's a pro. He knows. I'm not going to make you cry. It's a great moment. It's a great moment for me. And I'm gonna keep it, keep the vibes going, because I think also listen, it's Robert Downey Jr. He's not overly sentimental. Like he was the one comforting Chris Evans at the premiere of Endgame. Like that, we just know that's not his style. I feel. He's definitely if there's any real life Chandler Bing that wasn't Matthew Perry, it's Robert Downey Jr. I think that's why I like him so much. I've just linked the two. That would have been fun. What if Robert Downey Jr. was in Friends? All right,
A guest star. Yeah.
Cast Friends with the 2024 Oscar-nominated crop.
Well, Divine Joy Randolph wouldn't be there because there's no black characters allowed in Friends.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anything else on these two winners? I think we covered them kind of mostly earlier.
Yes, I agree. I think lovely
Happy
wins,
for.
wonderful speeches. Happy for them. Also, I feel confident in saying that
In your statement.
Cillian Murphy is the best actor win of this century. Looking back, I think that
him or Hopkins. It's close between him and Hopkins for me.
Yeah.
It's close. I might lean Cillian though, just solely because he has my last name. That might kick him over the edge.
And Hopkins as well.
A little biased. Yeah, Hopkins has one before. That's true. If we're not going just purely based off performance, it's close if it's just based off performance for that. But wins overall, I think his win. I mean, the whole Hopkins wasn't even there, unfortunately. I felt bad for Hopkins with what happened that year. But
I mean, I didn't feel bad for Hopkins. If there's anybody I didn't feel bad.
It's just an awkward
Hopkins.
Situation. Well, yes, I don't feel worse for Hopkins, but
it's awkward because of and we're a part of this, of course, of the punditry of making people think, But in the end, he was very gracious when he accepted in the morning in that video that we all saw. He's fine. Listen. If anybody should feel awkward about that moment, it's Steven Soderbergh.
Yeah, he screwed that up. I don't know how they let him do that. That's just insane. But
I was so sure that he had read the envelope. I'm like, it's Steven Soderbergh. If he needed to read the envelope, he would have. To make that
proof that no one knows.
Go back 2 years ago and watch our show when we did that. That was how did we go live after?
Did we talk about that? I don't think we talked. I don't think we covered that season. We did. Yeah. Oh. I don't think we did.
No, I'm getting confused with the slap. No, that's right.
Yeah, we did talk
2020.
about that. Yeah. No, 2021 was, I think, our true, fully committed season.
Yes.
But yeah.
Black Widow. I told you, Black Widow was
where
this started.
Yep, it is. Okay, let's now talk about the screenplay categories. As expected, American Fiction, Cord Jefferson, and Justine Triet and Arthur Harari for Anatomy of a Fall. We talked about Cord Jefferson's speech earlier. Justine Triet and Arthur Harari also gave a very good speech. And I love both. I like American Fiction. I wouldn't have voted for it, but I think he gave a great speech, and I'm very happy. Because everyone else in that category, I don't know how much an Oscar would have meant to them for their careers. I think it benefits his career the most out of everyone there. So I'm happy for him.
Going through.
I think so, right? Yeah, maybe Glazer, but
the Glazer won. Yeah, no, he definitely.
Yeah, he did.
I do think. Listen, this is the other thing I want to bring up with the Greta Gerwig of it all. I think she's a wonderful, inspirational, era-defining filmmaker. Spielberg did not win for Raiders of the Lost Ark and E.T. and Jaws. He won for Schindler's List. Christopher Nolan did not win for Dark Knight and Inception. He won for Oppenheimer. Yeah, she's making wonderful films in her current space. But she's definitely on that track. She's not on, the Chloe Zhao track or the Jane Campion track.
No,
she's definitely on the Spielberg Nolan track, and I think it's wonderful that we finally have a woman in that group. Like look at Bigelow. Bigelow didn't win for Point Break. She won for Hurt Locker. So Gerwig will get there. I just think that we're just so unbelievably impressed with how assured she is out of the gate that we're like, we'll give it to her now. And maybe we would have given it to her. I think the two of us might have for something in the past. I don't know.
Little Women,
Lady Bird, it's wonderful, but her time will come. I don't think there will be a world where Greta Gerwig dies without an Oscar.
Oh no, not at all. She'll win one whenever she's done with Narnia. I don't know. I just don't know about the Narnia choice. We'll see.
Listen, Sarah Polley is stepping away from Bambi.
Done with Bambi, thank God. I would like to see. I don't know. I'm sure Greta Gerwig will kill it at Narnia, but I don't know. I would like to see something else.
I could see a world where maybe Gerwig steps away from Narnia to go do Barbie 2.
I'm fine with the Narnia idea. It's it being at Netflix that I'm like, no. This needs to be on big screens.
Because Narnia, did she make that deal before Barbie came out? Was it the week before?
No, remember. that was post Barbie.
Oh, what? Well,
that was a post Barbie.
I feel like she's listen. Make your money. Go where you need to go.
She can write
where you go. But you're a movie theater
Well, she
director
made her
now.
money with Barbie. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
But
yeah, great
back to
wins,
these.
and I
I'm
love
happy. Yeah,
that.
happy for both of them.
I like that Justine Triet was cosplaying as Nicole Kidman from the AMC ad. That
Yes,
was really
yes.
nice.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Was that
So
intentional, you think? No.
no,
No.
if it was, I love her, but I don't
It's
think
very
so.
similar though.
She's like in memoriam because it just changed last week.
Yeah. Mhm.
But yeah, great screenplay picks, and I
Mhm.
also we should know Anatomy of a Fall is a international feature that's predominantly in
Yeah.
another language, and it won this category. I feel like we're
Mhm.
not mentioning that because some of it is in English,
It's so
but that's still
rare.
a
It's like
great
Parasite
pick.
is the only recent one that's happened.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
yeah. And
good
it's
on you, Oscars.
deserved. Like the screenplay is like so strong for that.
I
And
gotta say,
apparently
like,
she's
no, sorry, just that
but
we both
oh,
have
yeah, go
17
ahead.
out of. Yeah, no, we're fine. We both got 17 out of 23 on our predictions.
Mhm.
When all was said and done,
Tied.
I switched to Godzilla at the last minute.
I
Glad
should
I
have stuck
did.
with Emma, but yeah.
So, but I'm glad because I think all 6 of the ones I missed, the reason why I didn't pick it because I didn't think they had the guts to do it, like Sound for Zone of Interest or like Boy and the
Mhm.
Heron even for animated feature. So,
Yeah.
and then Anatomy of a Fall winning, we kind of knew that was going to happen, but still,
Mhm.
they, for, I'll just say this. I had a
Yeah.
greater faith that the Academy actually watched the movies nominated than I
Yeah.
had in the past.
I agree. Because pretty much there were what 3 movies that didn't win anything: Killers, Maestro, and Past Lives.
Past Lives.
Poor Past
Yeah.
Lives didn't get like a second of attention. I feel bad for it.
I know. It was weird.
I like jumped up in my seat and was very excited for like the 5 seconds of attention May December got during Screenplay. Oscar nominated May December. Yeah.
Also, they did Maestro's screenplay dirty with the clip they showed.
Did they? Did they?
Yes.
It's kind of indicative of the quality.
I don't know. They did not nominate that screenplay for I'm reining it in. They nominated for
Well, no, I don't think they picked
moments.
a lot of the right scenes. Like the May December scene, I think you picked better ones for that movie too. But yeah, and apparently Arthur Harari and Justine Triet writing a screenplay for Steven Spielberg currently, so that'll be fun.
I think he approached them. I think he approached them. I don't know if they're actually doing it because I
think they've probably already started. If I was them, I would be writing right now.
I guess I don't know. I'd be like, "Hi, you want to produce my movie?"
I am interested.
I would like to direct.
Through all the mingling, who might collab in the future based on the mingling. I want to see Emma Stone in a Greta Gerwig movie because she's supposed to be in Wonder Woman.
But that's next, and that will get Greta Gerwig
not Narnia.
her Oscar.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the screenplay categories.
Oh, you know what I would love? You know who I would love? I would love Emily Blunt to play her like role in Devil Wears Prada in the Barbie sequel. Like I want Barbie 2 to be like a Devil Wears Prada.
You want a Barbie 2?
Oh, yeah.
I don't want a Barbie 2.
Oh yeah, I want a Barbie 2. You kidding me? How many sequels have we made in this town? We're not going to make a sequel to Barbie. You kidding me?
I want I just don't know if I want Greta doing Barbie 2.
I mean, listen. It didn't hurt Christopher Nolan. He made Dark Knight Rises, and there are people who will
about Joker too.
Send death threats over that movie.
Yeah. Yep.
I want the Barbie Christmas movie is what I really want. I want a very Barbie Christmas. I think it'd be really funny. Christmas. I just think it'd be really funny if they make a movie about Barbie and like she like out of nowhere like she's suddenly pregnant and she's a doll and they have this whole Virgin Mary thing. I think that'd be really
funny. that would be funny. Yeah.
The Immaculate
Midge all over again. Yeah. Yeah. Congratulations. We have one of few people, I forget how many it was, who got 23 on Gold Derby. That's very impressive.
We salute you.
I don't know how many. I think it may have only been like 2 people who did it this year. So we've got one of them in here. So congratulations. give us more advice next award season. We would appreciate it. We'll keep an eye out for you.
We find out they work for PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Oh well, those were the 2 people then. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, that'd be so funny.
That would be them predicting on Gold Derby. Honestly, they should make like money bets, but that'd probably like be a violation of many sorts. Yeah.
Them betting on something they know.
They already know. Yeah, but who would know? I don't
know. I think if I put my name down and I don't know.
Alter ego.
Great. and now you're lying
Mm-hmm.
on a
Yep.
an official form.
Yep. Mm-hmm. They should make a movie about that. Charles Melton. I didn't see it. Was Charles Melton there? I saw he was
I
at
didn't
the
see
after
him.
party, but I hope he was there. He
Maybe it was
deserved to
the
be there.
+1 for somebody. Maybe he was
Yeah.
up
For
there with all
who?
the children
For
of.
Sammy Birch. I could see him being Sammy Birch's +1, to be honest. Yeah. They're friendly. Yeah. Oh, Pranks and Cats went 20. Do we have no way we have the two people who went 23 for 23 in here at the same time?
The space-time continuum will collapse.
It's condensed. Yeah. We'll see. I guess I don't know. I don't know who to believe now. Moving on. Now we've got the non-Oppie Poor Things category, so we can go down here. Let's start with original song. I mean, I think we both personally would have voted for it. We both predicted it the whole season. That's another thing we can brag about. Lots of people thought they were going down the I'm Just Ken route. Some people were very doubtful of Billie Eilish, Trevor. And it's just been Billie the whole time. It's just been Billie the whole time.
And she deserves it. By the way, she had my favorite look of the night. I literally gasped when I saw her. Her and
she does very unique stuff.
Yeah, and Melissa McCarthy. The hair was better than the fashion, I thought, this year.
The hair was good.
But listen, I love the song. It's the emotional, climax of that movie. Beautifully written. Yeah, and also just because I rewatched all the 10 Best Picture nominees over the weekend, and so I Barbenheimed one last time in theaters. It was glorious.
One second,
technically I did.
Headphones.
You're good. Technically, I did Zone of Interest and then Barbie and Oppenheimer. So I guess I did Zarbenheimer, which that's quite a triple feature. But it was I love the ending of Barbie in that song because by putting the real the Cruz moms, that's who you're seeing at the end of the movie is the Cruz family. And that's the slideshow at the end. There's just something so powerful because that's what movies are. It's taking our emotional experience as filmmakers and then relaying them to an audience. And so I love what that scene represents in that song. So I was very happy for it to win. Sound was really cool.
Well, quickly on song, I do think it was cool how I think she spent the whole song singing with her eyes closed, and at the end she finally opened her eyes and you could see her reaction to seeing everyone, which I thought was cool. But sound, I think, as you said, was maybe the coolest win of the night. I mean, it's unprecedented in terms of it lost, I forget where it was, at the sound awards, the foreign sound design, it still lost to Society of the Snow. This win, I don't think this went completely against stats, but it's purely based off of merit, which you love to see. And I think
their passion for the movie.
Yeah. I think it also shows between this and we'll get to some of the other ones, Godzilla -1, that the Academy is continuing to be more international year by year. And I think you can see it with picks like this.
I think they're taking their role more seriously. I really felt that that's the vibe I got with this win. They're acknowledging the work. They're acknowledging the craft. I know some people are upset that Barbie didn't win more, but it did win an award and it had a presence in the show. It had the best moment of the night. It A Star Is Born. When we verb movies. So I don't know. It's just I saw to me, there's something glorious about the two biggest winners of the night was a $100 million studio biopic that made almost $1 billion worldwide and an independent out there wacko movie that was made for what, $40 million? The difference with those two movies and the fact that they were embraced wholeheartedly by the Academy. And then you have stuff like Zone of Interest, Godzilla -1 beating out the more conventional blockbusters. It was just really surprising. The fact that the only type of conventional win among all these winners is animated short film.
That's probably the only one that I'm about. I don't know.
Says something. But listen, John and Yoko, man. It's John and Yoko.
Yeah, it's in the title. And yeah, as Stephen points out, as we just said, it was this year's A Star Is Born commercial success used to promote the show. Performance was the highlight of the Oscars. Also Warner Brothers, yes. Yeah. And only one song. But I think Barbie won, as they mentioned, Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt mentioned. Barbie won the year overall, money-wise and impact-wise. I think it's the biggest film of the year.
And listen, the biggest success, I said this last night. It was funny because I went to two separate parties. The first group hated Barbie. They think it's the coming of the end
Oh,
times. And the second
wow.
group tried to convince me that every single woman on the planet loved Barbie. And I was like,
Okay.
this how
Very opposite ends.
oh, I was like, I
Yeah.
can't. Melting
Yeah.
face, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Hmm.
And I told the second group, I was like, listen, the
Yeah.
biggest success of Barbie is that if you go out on the street and you say, do you know who Greta Gerwig is? I think most people, definitely way more than last year, will say yes.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
that's the big success of Barbie. You know,
Hmm. Yep.
because
And as we talked a little
only
bit,
nuts like us remember who wins these awards.
yes, this is true. Jacqueline Duran. Do you know who Jacqueline Duran is, guys? No, that's
Mm-hmm.
just us. Visual effects, Godzilla -1. Surprise. I think once kind of like Zone of Interest, completely breaking stats, but purely based off of I think merit. I think, and also just like the people who they wanted to see on the stage. I think they had the best narrative
Yeah.
of anyone in the category. And they gave a great speech. I'm very happy. Godzilla, first nomination for the franchise and first win.
And I'm glad
I think
won
it's probably the best outcome, to be honest.
for a film from Toho, like from a film,
Mm-hmm.
like not the
Yeah, not
the
Gareth
Godzilla X
Edwards or
Kong movies. Like
Godzilla
that's
X
nice.
Kong, A New Empire.
Yeah. Though it should be
Yeah.
said, I think that was the MCU's 14th nom in that category without a win. So it's
They're
still
never
it's crazy.
gonna win. They're
Yeah,
not gonna win.
at this point, I don't think unless we get another like Dune
Glenn
year.
Close will
Like,
win an Oscar
release.
before the MCU does.
The MCU has 4 Oscars.
Oh, I know. I mean, in visual effects, yes. Glenn Close will win the visual effects Oscar before the MCU does.
But
yeah.
And this, I think this also speaks to our Best Actress conversation that like it's not a monolith. Like maybe they didn't pay attention to what would have been the more career defining, important win with actress,
Mm-hmm.
but they obviously did it for visual effects, and they, so it's a range, and I think it's always a gradient, and even looking at like the short
This
film
also helps
categories
too.
of the 5 visual
For
effects,
visual
probably.
effects, probably, yeah.
Are we talking about best visual effects themselves or the best film
of the films overall? I think it's probably the best film on that list. I don't like The Creator that much. Guardians was fine. Mission Impossible was fine. And what was the other? Not Napoleon. No.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed Mission Impossible. I would rather
it's fine.
rewatch
It's just not the
movie.
franchise's best.
It's not the franchise's best, but it's still good. I would probably pick Mission Impossible, but then Godzilla will be right underneath it. But you look at the shorts. It's like Last Repair Shop winning over ABC's of book banning. That that shows like, oh, they're not just voting on the title; they'd actually watch the movies. I think that was
the
conventional wisdom,
emotion and message.
Yeah, the conventional wisdom was that was the consensus was that was the favorite among people who had seen them. So that showed something. But then War is Over probably won partly because of the title and what it was about.
And I do think even if
so, it's a range. It's a range of these things.
I saw most of the shorts, and I do think even based off of having seen them, I think people who like us, like people on film Twitter and people who watch this stuff, I can see why they don't like War is Over, but you can watch that movie and you can think about what the Academy goes for, and you can see why they would vote for it. It's not like it's like I mean, in my opinion, it's a pretty bad film, but I can see why people would like it. And like you said, John and Yoko right there in the title. I mean, that helps as well. And Last Repair Shop, like I said, I think the perfect mix of emotion and message compared to 99 Wipeout, which was more emotion, less message, and ABC's of Book Banning, which had no emotion and was all message. I think that was the nice balance. And then Wes Anderson wins his first Oscar for live action short and wasn't even there. Apparently he's shooting a film today, I guess, because he said tomorrow. So Wes Anderson is shooting his next film currently as we speak, maybe, depending on the time of day. But yeah, I think that one is expected because he is Wes Anderson. That also helps, kind of like John and Yoko in the title, having that be a Wes Anderson film. Helps there. I think that's pretty much it for these ones. We can move on to our now Poor Things and Oppie winning categories. I guess we can start with Oppenheimer wins. Cinematography, editing, original score, all expected, all very deserving. What stands out here of the Oppie wins at first?
Out of the Oppie wins,
yeah.
I mean, if I love Jennifer Lame, she made me love her even more.
She
with
gave
that
a great
speech, man.
Yeah.
The craft people were really like, they were on it this year. Well, because you got, the Oppenheimer crew is cool, and the Poor Things crew is so quirky. It was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, Ludwig. Okay, this is crazy. He has 40% of the Oscars that John Williams has.
I don't think he'll get to 5, but yes.
I don't know. I think it's in the cards. You know, he's
Maybe.
worked. He won. You know, he's He's won 2 in 5 years. So like, I think if he's got another 50 in him, like John
If
Williams.
he keeps working with Christopher Nolan, yeah, like Steven
Um,
Spielberg with Williams.
So yeah, I think that I was very happy. I was happy for Ludwig too because he composed my favorite score last year, which was Wakanda Forever. So I was I was happy for his win. I thought, obviously, beautiful work. I still get chills, and I almost start. I honestly almost felt like overwhelmed and was about to cry watching the Can You Hear the Music this weekend when I went back to the theater. So it's a beautiful score. Yeah, and then editing finally Hoyte von Hoytema.
I know.
Very happy for him. And then the costume, production design, makeup. I just think they really respected that Poor Things was an original creation. It was something unlike anything they'd ever seen. How the movie reflects artistically and physically what Bella's transformation is going through, what it's like, was just impeccable work, and they acknowledged that. And I think it was because they really did love the movie. And I think I think Everything Everywhere All at Once against Poor Things would have been such a fascinating season to see those two absurdist masterpieces go head to head.
What do you think? I think Everything Everywhere probably takes the win still. I think that fits more conventional, heartwarming vibes than Poor Things does.
I don't know, because they obviously gave it to Emma Stone, and she is the heartwarming.
Emma Stone maybe would have still won.
Yeah,
I don't know,
because it also would have been crazy because Poor Things is adapted. Everything Everywhere was original, so they technically could have won those screenplay categories. It would have been really tough. And maybe Yorgos wins because this is the thing. I think Yorgos is probably the number 2 for director this year, and he might have won last year. And I think Poor Things in the end was more serious. I think it's taken more seriously than Everything Everywhere was, because you remember last year we had that whole thing where like, this is a millennial thing, but I guess it was like, no, it's a great movie. But yeah, I just think it's I love the era we're in when we're talking about Oscar movies and their Poor Things and Everything Everywhere. It's a fun time to be alive.
Yeah, I do think the makeup win for Poor Things really kind of switched the night for me. But with that, I was kind of like, okay, so then Poor Things is winning costume design and production design, and Emma Stone is probably winning Best Actress with that makeup win. Continuing the makeup, and even though the makeup isn't on her, the makeup's on Willem Dafoe. It's continuing the makeup and acting win.
The hair is on her, and there is this slight makeup change when it comes to her when she's in the pleasure house. I said this like months ago that I was like, what if makeup is the Poor Things wins makeup, and that's your acting corollary? And
it just still doesn't make sense to me though, because Maestro, however you say it, I'm sorry, Maestro.
It's 2 syllables, not 3. It's not Maestro.
I want to keep saying Maestro just to annoy people. But that's the more typical winner that they go for. Yeah.
Yes, I will grant you it was the more traditional one, which is why we went with that for the prediction. But I still think that Poor Things is probably the more impressive achievement.
Yes, I would agree.
The one that took more out of them and is more connection story. We've seen Kazuhiro do that before.
We have. That's true. Yeah,
and he's been awarded for it before.
Multiple times, twice at least. Yeah.
Darkest Hour and Vice, right? Or didn't he also do Bombshell?
Two. He did one. He did 2 of those 3. I know he didn't do one of those 3. Okay. So he won. Yeah, he definitely did Darkest Hour. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
He's fine. He's okay.
He's fine. Yeah, he's chilling. He's gonna do another transformation on someone. I don't think he's got one coming out next year.
But, and listen, I didn't have an issue with the nose and the controversy with the makeup, but I do think that it's nice to see that the makeup and hairstyling award went to a movie that had equal things of both. We usually see only makeup win this, and hairstyling was definitely a big part of Poor Things. But also, like, they won for not dressing up somebody like somebody else, like, and it wasn't you're not trying to get the features of a certain person. I do think that bodes again. Wow, Oscars paying attention, making a nice quality pick here. No, not conventional wisdom.
Agreed. And costume design, production design. It's interesting seeing. I interacted with the costume designer after the NIF screening. Me and Sam saw her on the street walking out, and then now she's an Oscar winner. It's crazy. And
so you're 2 degrees from Emma Stone.
I'm like pretty much best friends with an Oscar winner, guys. We talk all the time. Yes, and we already talked about the Oppenheimer wins, all very deserved.
Technically, I said you're 2 degrees from Emma Stone, but like you know me, and I've met Emma Stone, so technically you're 1 degree.
Well, there we go. 1 degree from Emma Stone.
I completely
Um,
listen, it's a long night, guys.
Yeah, lots of connections going on. Yeah, Barbie's costume designer or production designer, eighth. She'll win eventually, I'm sure. But very competitive year for production design and costume design between those two films, because I think they would have won if they weren't any other year, pretty much, if they weren't competing against each other.
And I also think that, listen, you're modeling the designs off something that already exists, which I think could have hurt it a little bit. I think there's definitely some people who might have not voted Barbie because of that.
It's more contemporary as well, and they like
it's
stuff.
In a way, it does take a lot of influence from like 60s architecture.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing is that it's a pro and a con. It's the same thing with Saoirse Ronan and Lady Bird, which is that she was so good. She's so internal and so good that it doesn't look like acting at that point. Like, that's how good of an actor she was in that, and that hurt her in that race.
Yeah.
What made the movie better with the production design, by making it look plastic, I think then took away some of the aesthetical brilliance that people like out of these winners. Like, the fact that it looked plastic, I think did hurt them a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to, and it made the movie better.
It did. I think the rest of these slides are now unfinished ones. Yeah, that's unfinished. I never got to best moment. Best dressed. Who do you think was dressed well? I thought Lily Gladstone looked good. I thought Carey Mulligan looked good.
I mean, I said Billie Eilish, Florence Pugh,
Billie Eilish,
Zendaya, the cast of Dune always showed up.
The cast of Dune. Yep. Anya Taylor-Joy, I think, had a very nice dress. Jennifer Lawrence always kills it. I really liked the dress she was wearing. And Emma Stone's dress was nice, even though it broke.
I'm not a fan of I don't like
the little puff thing in the middle.
The structured puff halfway through.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, listen, she can wear whatever she wants. She can wear nothing, like John Cena, if she wants to.
She could. Yeah, John Cena also should be on the list, I guess.
I loved what
America
they threw. The curtain that he was wearing. America Ferrera was great.
He wore pink.
Ryan Gosling
didn't wear pink.
I know that was a little sad about that. Ryan Gosling in that pink suit though was maybe the top of the top of it.
Umair agrees. Anti-Barbie dress pro. I don't know that theory. You might have to explain that to me. I think she just wore
I'm going to assume that that theory is that because of Barbie's omission, she was not going to give in and give them the memeable social media friendly thing, because it's like, well, you didn't nominate me. I don't think that's true. Margot Robbie is a wonderful, team player. That's why she's such a great producer. I think it was more that A, she wanted to be comfortable, and B, I think also she knows that it's not just her night. Because had she done that, then it would have been like Madonna walking the Met Gala carpet. Everybody would have been flocking to her. I think if anything, it showed that she had respect for her fellow nominees, and maybe she's just tired of pink.
Maybe. I don't know. She still looks good.
I don't think.
She's
actors have these things called phones and social media accounts. I know she doesn't have one, but if she was really angry, there are better ways to show it than wearing black.
Yeah, I agree. MESSI also very good with the bow tie. I agree. Yes, we should talk about this. Here, let me just go back to a slide that isn't completely blank. So look, here we can keep lessons from award season. I didn't finish up. We didn't cover Boy in the Heron. Here, I don't want to distract us. Never mind. We can go to that in a second. But we should talk about Boy in the Heron winning. I think we touched on it. I forgot to put it on this list because we talked about Glazer International and documentary in the speeches. It was a surprise. Probably the first surprise of the night. I think it was the second category.
Yeah.
I think that's another category that shows the Academy continues to become more international, because the stats were against that one. The only places it won were international voting bodies of Golden Globes and BAFTA.
I mean, I also think just because a lot of these voting bodies for animation were developed with computer animation. Like, this is only the second hand-drawn animation film to win. And I think that's what we're not used to seeing. Usually they go for the 3D animation. Usually they go for the brand.
It's also foreign language.
And it's foreign language. Like, it just, we didn't expect.
Spirited Away is the only one, right?
Yeah. And that was 2002. So, like, I don't know. I was very happy to see it win. I think it's I think it was, I don't know if it was Chris it was Phil Lord or Chris Miller, but one of them said, "If you're gonna lose, you lose to the GOAT."
Yeah,
And
there's a lot of
that
love
was
for Miyazaki.
and it was a beautiful film. It was a beautiful film, beautifully
It was.
animated, great score.
Yeah, and probably
So
honestly his last chance at winning an Oscar, depending on what he does with his next films. I know he said this was his last one, and now it's not, but I'm happy he has at least one more.
I told you, these
Yeah.
people, they can't do
But
it.
I don't know
The
how many
only
people
one-
knew that it wasn't not his last one.
I think they just felt, listen, this isn't Toy Story, and we don't like sequels, and we don't need to give anything to Spider-Man. Again, it's the Marvel curse. I really think there's a Marvel. If they see Marvel, no.
It was open-ended. It was a cliffhanger, as we've seen with some films.
It also spoke to what we were saying back in June, which is that Spider-Verse is a great movie, but it's not getting Best Picture nomination.
That's another thing we should be proud of. There were so many people. Trevor on the Best Picture for Spider-Verse train.
If you say his name 3 times, he's gonna pop up again.
Yeah, maybe he will. Yeah, and then he's gonna join the stream. Yeah, no, but he was. I mean, I technically should have won money from him. I said I don't want it, but we did make bets about that early on in the season, and I won those bets. And I also made Naiad bets, which turned out pretty well for me. So what I'm saying is I'm a better predictor than Trevor.
What you're saying is stick to your gut. Next one.
Yeah, what I'm saying is stick with your gut. Naiad and Emma Stone. BAFTAs are more. I still think BAFTAs are the most important precursor, in my opinion. I think we've taken SAG a little too much for granted.
But listen, if SAG had been correct, we would have said SAG.
Yes, but SAG has 160,000 members, with the Academy only being 10,000. I think BAFTA, there's, I don't know.
But it also helped. It helped that this year the 3 leading contenders were from Oppenheimer, a British director, and Irish star. Poor Things, which is they speak in British accents. It's a British movie, and then Zone of Interest, which was the United Kingdom submission. It just was a British themed year for the front runners. So I think that's you gotta.
We'll have to take it year by year.
Yeah. Also, I like that now. I do think we wondered with Cruella, but I think it's now official. Emma Stone is an honorary Brit. I'm not qualified to say that, but I think the BAFTAs have.
Yeah, I would agree, especially because she's working with lots of Yorgos, a European, not a Brit, Greece. What do Greek people called? Kraken. I don't know. Another important lesson, which we talked about earlier, address the people handing. This is also maybe a Grammy crossover. Address the people handing you the award. We talked about that though, just even a little bit. I think might be a good idea. And we also talked about this. If you're in the stronger film, which we saw with Emma Actress, should have stuck with my gut. You'll probably win if you're in the stronger film overall. If it's an unsure category. Yeah. Any other lessons you want to add to the list? I made this like 10 seconds before we went live.
That these lessons change from year to year.
They do.
You know, listen, it's fun. We use the predecessors and the precursors for the conversation starters, but in the end, there's no real reason why Poor Things beat out Barbie, why Emma Stone beat out Lily. There's no one reason. In the end, it comes down to just how people are feeling in the moment. I mean, had voting happened for Best Picture in January of any given year, La La Land would have won Best Picture. A Star is Born would have won Best Picture. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood probably would have won Best Picture. There are so many movies. It's fluid and it's fun, and that's what makes this fun because we never really know what's happening. So just remember, if you got 23 out of 23, as some of our people actually did, or you got 1 out of 23, or 0. It doesn't reflect poorly on you. I say that.
Who did that bad? I don't think you can do that bad. There's some pretty obvious ones.
My aunt did 4 out of 23, but I don't think she saw any of the movies.
Did you help her at all?
No.
You should.
my mom beat me 20 to 23,
really?
And her misses were Billie Eilish and Emma Stone, and she wanted those to win. So technically, she almost went like all the way.
Wow.
So I give her a lot of credit. It's the first time she's beaten me in a decade. So there you go. I guess we'll have to. We're gonna swap out which post family member is gonna be on the show next.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you're not invited anymore. Your mom will be taking your spot.
Yeah. But still, listen. All I tell my friends and everybody I know, I just have to tie or beat you. So that's all.
Yep. Well, we tied this year. So I guess it's we'll have to, who won last year? I think you won last year.
I think I won
I
last
forget
year.
though, because I think you had the Jamie Lee Curtis advantage, and I think we agreed on pretty much
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah, I think that was true. But this was my worst average. I think I got 73% because I missed 6, and that's by far my worst.
Yeah.
So
I think
which is not
this
too
is
bad.
worse than I did last year too. So
Yeah.
yeah. But I like having surprises. I don't like there was that 2021 year, which I think I went like 22 for 23, which was nice, but there was no surprises.
God damn.
It was just
Penelope
windshield
Cruz.
Did you predict Penelope Cruz?
Yes, because of those goddamn blind ballots.
Yeah.
So mad.
Don't trust that. We should have that as another lesson on here. Don't trust the anonymous ballots. That was a 2021.
I learned that 2 years ago.
Yeah. This is true.
God.
This is true.
All right. Any other questions from the crowd? Any other last?
I think Anthony's mother watching. It was UK Mother's Day. So there we go.
There you go.
Mentioned multiple times.
Also, it's 11 o'clock on the East Coast. Mom, you need to go to bed.
Yeah, I think some people are asking, where did it go? This is an Anthony question, not a Jack question, because Jack wants to do it soon. But we'll have to see. We'll have to not like soon, like next week, like Trevor. But no.
All right, we said it 3 times.
We said it 3 times. That's why I said it. Yeah, we should appear soon, but he probably won't.
Listen,
we'll give it like
we told
a few weeks.
Sing Sing, Dune, Joker, challengers for Jack. True. We'll say.
Well, that's a personal thing. I don't think that's actually going to happen. I think Luca's contender is going to be Queer, the film with Daniel Craig and Drew Starkey.
Yeah. So listen. I think it's just. First off, we should mention we have not had a fall release Oscar Best Picture winner since Nomadland. Coda was August. Everything Everywhere was March, April. Oppenheimer was July. Mm-hmm. So listen, technically now we don't really have an award season. We could start earlier. I just think it's more for our sanity because we'll end up saying the same goddamn thing for months and months. I don't know how we survived this one because we were saying the same thing.
Well, because the movies were so good, I think helped this year. Like it was a great lineup that it was hard to get tired of.
It really did.
Talking about them.
Yeah, so we'll get to it, but we have the Emmys. We have
it looks Tonys. Barren. That's what I'll say. Next year looks a little barren. So I think that could help Dune. But I'm not as high of a Dune Oscars believer as I think other people seem to be.
Yeah. We'll see. I think that's in the end the problem is that nobody's seen these movies. So I mean, I do it for all of you, but it is ridiculous for us to predict some of these movies.
But it's fun.
Like nobody's seen them. The editor still hasn't seen the final cut of these movies. Mm-hmm. How could we think that they're going to win 7 Oscars?
Yeah. This is true. This is true. Yeah, we'll have to see. There's lots of fun stuff to look forward to, though. Even though, like this year we knew like we had a Nolan film, we had a Gerwig film, we had a Scorsese film, we had plenty of Lanthimos film. We don't quite have that next year or this year.
I want it on the record that I feel like I was the only one pre-release that was thinking Oppenheimer and Nolan were going to win these things. Everybody else was like, no, it'll just be Dunkirk again. I was like, no.
Let's do it. Let's do a 4th one. Some people didn't even have it in their top 10. Trevor. But yeah. No, I should have. When we did the early preview thing, those were all my predictions. I should have had yours up there because then we would have looked even smarter. But I had it. In my top 10.
What was your number one?
My number one was Color Purple, so that didn't work out for me. Yeah, no, that didn't work out. I was going based off of the stat that like the Best Picture winners, which Nolan broke this year, are rarely by directors who have had films previously nominated for Best Picture. The only example I think was Birdman recently.
Yeah, but
that's a coincidence more than
this was a rare. He was the next anointed, filmmaker of our kind. So it was a departed year.
2 7-time Oscar winners in the past 2 years too. So that could be Dune.
That's crazy.
Who knows?
That's crazy. Who knows? I was listen, Color Purple still, got nominated. Daniel Brooks.
It got a nomination, yes.
Got a nomination. They gave me my first review quote. I will be very kind to The Color Purple.
Yeah, that's fair. I also had Indiana Jones in my top 10. Got a nomination. Got a nomination, all right. That was the Top Gun effect. We didn't do a looking
Oh,
back at our
God.
Oscar predictions video. I know some people do that, but yeah, that's the most embarrassing.
right.
That didn't work out. That didn't work out.
Man,
But that's what you do it for, that early on, to take risks.
Yeah.
I had Naiad pretty high too. I'm pretty.
Yeah,
I'm
you
pretty happy with
waved
that.
like a wave. You did not.
I was a wave with Naiad indeed.
All right.
But I think
listen,
that's enough next year talk.
Yes. But
Yeah.
true, unless there's any other questions, thank you to all of you,
I
because you
think
make
we've
it
covered
interesting.
everything.
You make it
Oh,
fun.
best campaigning. No, we didn't talk about that. Bradley Cooper.
You listen. MESSI was the best campaigning.
Yes, he was, and he was also the best moment. If we want, him clapping, best moment. Also, bringing out the IATSE members at the start and saying that we'll hold strong with them during their strike. I think
they better remember that when they go on strike.
Yeah, that better be true.
Hopefully they won't have to go on strike, but
yeah,
they'll remember it. Yeah, just thank you. I mean, this was halfway through our season. We were able to be monetized, and you guys have been so incredibly fortunate. And we're just wonderful that we get to do it, and people seem to like what we have to say. It's it's humbling. We've had these conversations when there were 5 people watching, and the fact that we have over 1,000 people
it's crazy
on a weekly basis. It's crazy. So thank you. You make it fun for us.
Yes, a great season overall. Thank you to everyone who joined us, who has been with us. It was super fun. Hope you stick with us as we enter Emmys, maybe like last year, a little Tony special. Bring back Constance and talk some Tonys.
So it'll be really interesting this year, because we don't really have a lot of like conventional picks. Like, it's a lot of new original musicals. So, and I'm determined to get Jack onto that special.
I have no clue what's going on, so I don't know if I should be on that.
Listen, I'm not in New York this year, so I haven't seen a lot of the shows.
Okay.
I'm not. It's not the theater district is not on my commute to work.
No, you're not flying back and forth.
No.
Yeah, so
maybe on the monetized money. We'll see how much we make.
Yeah, maybe once I get that money. My God, YouTube, if you're listening, my God. Apparently it takes a while, but it's been longer than a while at this point. I'm waiting. But yeah, thank you all for watching, joining us this entire award season, commenting, liking, joining us in the live chat, sending super chats, of course. Thank you. Anything that you've done has been, even just watching, very much appreciated. And yeah, we are not disappearing. We might take a mini vacay, but I don't
know. I think Trevor's going to kill you after the amount of times that you came after him.
He might indeed kill me, but I only spoke the truth. I'm sorry. But yeah, we'll be around for Emmys and Grammys. Not Grammys. No, we're not talking about Grammys. Emmys and Tonys. In the next month or so. And then I will convince Anthony soon enough to do at least an early predictions before we hit Cannes. I think by the time we hit Cannes,
I think Cannes is when we started last year, and I think that's
when
fair.
We started.
That's our first. Yeah. That's our first festival. So I will give you Cannes.
Maybe a little before Cannes, but yeah, maybe as a birthday gift in April. Yeah, that's your gift.
We'll do a Challengers review. How about that?
Well, yes, we're definitely doing that anyways. Yeah. Okie doke. I think that's pretty much it. Yes, thank you all for joining us. Really appreciate it. We did talk about I'm Just Ken earlier. It was like the first thing we talked about. I think we had a whole.
How could you not lead with anything else?
I know, it was the best part of the night.
It's probably what inspired that whole award show that you made.
It is, yeah, it is what inspired that, because there were so many great moments. I was like, you know what? Let's just make it our own awards show, which turned out pretty well, I think, overall. Even though there were some categories I didn't finish. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Any final thoughts before we end this 2024 award season? I think that's it.
Get some rest.
Yes, it is. Yeah, get some rest, and we'll see you in whatever video comes out after this. So thank you all. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.